Friday, October 6th, we're going to do a bit of the speed version so we can make sure we get through end of story, and we've sort of covered these kids anyway. Assessments I'll be grading after school today. Quiz coming up on Monday. Make sure you read story. Submit your new assessment so I can give you a higher grade. We went through and did kids doing this, go them. And then, let's see, story, azaleas, and then coconuts, cadets,
naval cadet, naval intern,
guy, man in white, hat, Jamaica, man in white, kid, I'm sorry, what was it, man boy? Man, person thing? I forget what man was.
It was
young boy man.
I apologize.
Young boy man.
Young boy man, young woman girl. And then he gets out the cigarettes, and then he pulls out his lighter, and that's where we got to. So we got to, what is it the boy has to do with the lighter?
Light it 10 times.
Light it 10 times.
Also, he would have to give the old man a thimble.
And if he's successful, then he gets a paddle. There we go. And then if he is not successful and does not light it,
he loses a thimble.
pinky finger. Nicely done. Nice. I don't think those. That's the wrong
You try to light it 10 times.
I did earlier and it works. Because it's part of the story coming up, so I had to go back and refill it yesterday. So now it should be good to go. Fingers crossed.
Do we see the light?
Yeah, it's right here. Let's see. We are backside of paper. We're first column where it says the man leaned back and spread out his hands. Because as we just found out, where he was like, what? Why not? You want to take the car? You lose the finger. I take the finger. And he was like, I don't get it. How do you mean? Take the fingers. I chop it off. And that's where we stopped. The man leaned back. Back here. There we go. The man leaned back and spread out his hands, palms upward, and gave a tiny, contemptuous shrug of the shoulders. Well, 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 I do not understand. You say it lights, but you will not bet. Didn't we forget it? Yes. The boy sat quite still, staring at the bathers in the pool. Then he remembered suddenly he hadn't even lit his own cigarette. He put it between his lips, cupped his hands around the lighter, and flipped the wheel. The wick lighted and burned with a small, steady yellow flame, and the way he held his hands, the wind didn't get to it at all. Hey, can I have a light too? Gee, I'm sorry, I forgot you didn't have one. I held out my hand for the lighter, but he stood up and came over to do it for me. Oh, thank you, I said. You, having a good time? Fine, it's pretty nice here. There was a silence then, and I could see that the little man had succeeded in disturbing the boys with his absurd proposal. He was sitting there very still, and it was obvious a small tension was beginning to build up inside of him. Because which of our 7 elements is the kid going through right now?
Rising and internal conflict.
Internal conflict. Because what does he have to do?
Either accept the
Make
bet
a
or
major
not.
decision.
Did you say not?
Accept the bet or reject it.
Daryl, what's up?
I just want to say, I saw something in the story, and I'm pretty sure if we actually see the bet happening, he's going to lose.
Okay. Well, I haven't given you the end of the story. That's a separate paper.
Okay.
So I made sure not to give you guys the end, so
It
you
says
can't read
like
ahead.
the way he held his hand, the wind didn't get to it at all.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see.
He's gonna lose the bet.
Then he started shifting about in his seat, rubbing his chest and stroking the back of his neck, and finally he placed both hands on his knees, tapping his fingers against his kneecaps, and soon he was tapping with one of his feet as well. Okay. Now, let me just check on this bet of yours. You say we go up to your room, and if I can make this lighter light 10 times in a row, I win a Cadillac. But if it misses just once, I forfeit the little finger of my left hand. Is that right? Certainly. That is the bet. But I think you are afraid. Okay. What do we do if I lose? Do I have to, like, hold my finger out while you chop it off? Oh, no. That would be no good. And you might be tempted to refuse to hold it out. What I should tie one of your hands to the table before we started. And I stand there with a knife ready to go chop the moment your lighter missed. Ooh, okay. Well, what year is the Cadillac? Excuse? I not understand. What year? Okay. How old is the Cadillac? Oh, how old? Yes. It is last year. Quite new car. But you are not a betting man. Americans never are.
Cute.
The boy paused for just a moment, and he glanced first at the English girl and then at me. Yes! You know what? I'll bet you. Good. The little man clapped his hands together quietly once. Fine. Oh, we do it now. And you, sir? He turned to me. You would perhaps be good enough to, to referee? He had pale, almost colorless eyes with tiny, bright black pupils. Well, all right. I think it's a crazy bet. I don't think I like it very much. Nor do I, said the English girl. It was the first time she'd spoken. I think it's a stupid, ridiculous bet. Are you serious about cutting off this boy's finger if he loses? Certainly I am. Also, about giving him Cadillac if he wins. Come now, we go to my room. He stood up. Would you like to put on some clothes first? Because what's the kid wearing?
A swimsuit.
Yeah, just a swimsuit. Nah, the boy answered. I'll come up like this. Then he turned to me. Hey, I'd consider it a favor if you come along and referee. All right, I'll come along, but man, I don't like this bet. Hey, you come too, he said. You come and watch, he said to the girl. The little man led the way back through the garden to the hotel. He was animated now and excited, and that seemed to make him bounce up higher than ever on his toes as he walked along. I live in Annex, he said. Would you like to see the car first? It's just here. He took us to where we could see the front driveway of the hotel. He stopped and pointed to a sleek, pale green Cadillac parked close by. There she is, the green one. You like? Say, that's a nice car. All right, now we go up and see if you can win her. Excuse me. We followed him into the annex and up one flight of stairs. An annex at a hotel like these resorts is a separate area that's like a nicer, more expensive area. So you have like your normal hotel area that's like where the little car is, where it's parked. And then the annex is going to be an area where you get like special rooms if you have more money off to the side. All right. We followed him into the annex and up one flight of stairs. He unlocked his door, and we all trooped into what was a large, pleasant double bedroom. There was a woman's dressing gown lying across the bottom of one of the beds. First, we have a little drink. The drinks were on a small table in the far corner, all ready to be poured. There was ice and plenty of glasses, and he began to make the drinks. Meanwhile, he rung the bell. There was a knock on the door, and a maid came in. Ah, he said, taking a wallet from his pocket and pulling out a pound note. You guys know what a pound note is? Yeah, it's like the British money.
Yeah.
Pulled out the pound note. You will do something for me now, please? He gave the maid the pound. You keep that. And now we are going to play a little game here. And I want you to go off and find for me three things. I want some nails, I want a hammer, and I want a chopping knife. A butcher's chopping knife, which you can borrow from the kitchen. You can get that, yes? A chopping knife? This is what he's referring to often. A butcher's knife.
Yep.
Those of you who watch horror movies, this is what you chase the little teenagers with in the movies before you chop them up into little pieces.
I have one
So
in my
that's the
kitchen.
knife they're talking about.
I already heard something.
A chopping knife? The maid opened her eyes wide and clasped her hands in front of her. You mean a real chopping knife? Yes, of course. Come on now, please. You can find these things, surely, for me. Yes, sir, I'll try, sir. Surely I'll try and get them. And out she went. The little man handed round the drinks. We stood there and sipped them. The boy with the long, freckled face and the pointed nose, bare-bodied except for a pair of faded brown swim trunks. The English girl, a large-boned, fair-haired girl wearing a pale blue swimsuit, who watched the boy over the top of her glass all the time. The little man with the colorless eyes standing there in his immaculate white suit, drinking from his glass and looking at the girl in her pale blue swimsuit. I didn't know what to make of it all. The man seemed serious about the bet, and he seemed serious about the business of cutting off this kid's finger. But what if the boy lost? Then we'd have to rush him to the hospital in a Cadillac he hadn't won. Well, that'd be a fine thing. It'd be a silly, unnecessary thing, so far as I could see. Don't you think this is rather a silly bet? I think it's a fine bet, the boy answered. He'd already downed one large drink. Well, I think it's a stupid, ridiculous bet, the girl said. What's going to happen if you lose? Nah, it's not going to matter. Come to think of it, I can't remember ever in my life ever having a use for my little finger on my left hand. Pfft, here he is. The boy took hold of the finger. Here he is, and he has never done a thing for me yet. Why shouldn't I bet him? Nah, I think it's a fine bet. The little man smiled and picked up the shaker and refilled our glasses. Before we begin, I will present to the referee the key of the car. He produced a car key from his pocket and gave it to me. The papers, the owning papers and insurance are in the pocket of the car. Then the maid came in again. In one hand, she carried a small chopper, the kind used by butchers for chopping meat bones, and in the other a hammer and a bag of nails. Good, you get them all. Thank you, thank you. Now, you can go. He waited until the maid had closed the door, and then put the implements on one of the beds and said, now we prepare ourselves. Yes? And to the boy, help me please with this table. We're going to carry it out a little. It was the usual kind of hotel writing desk, just a plain rectangular table about 4 feet by 3 with a blotting pad, ink, pens, and paper. They carried it out into the room away from the wall and removed the writing things. Now we get to go to the part you don't have, which is on the second sheet, because I didn't trust you guys not to try and read ahead and cheat. You will. I have it over there, but you have to wait until I get done reading. That way you guys can't try and cheat to find out. Because sometimes suspense is too much for kids to figure out.
The suspense.
Right, that's the suspense. So, out of curiosity, how many of you guys think you know what's going to happen, or you have a suspicion?
I don't know.
We'll see which way it goes if we find out. So, in this next part, there's this table. I'm going to walk you through how they're setting this up for this kid. We'll be pausing here for a bit as we get to it. All right. And now, a chair. He picked up a chair and placed it beside the table. He was very brisk and very animated, like a person organizing games at a children's party. And now the nails. I must put in the nails. He fetched the nails and he began to hammer them into the top of the table. Hang on, where's my 2 nails? Nail 1, nail 2. Oh, no, I have it.
Where?
So we have our 2 nails right there.
Oh, I know.
So he didn't, not all the way flush, but there's still like a chunk of nail still sticking up. So you have a nail sticking up and a nail sticking up. We stood there, the boy, the boy, the girl, and I, holding drinks in our hands, watching the little man at work. We watched him hammer 2 nails into the table about 6 inches apart. He didn't hammer them all the way in. He allowed a small part of each one to stick up. Then he tested them for firmness with his fingers. Anyone would think this guy had done this before, I told myself. He never hesitates. Table, nails, hammer, kitchen chopper. He knows exactly what he needs and how to arrange it. I'm going to say that's foreshadowing because what is it that tells you?
He's never lost.
He has done this before. It is not his first time with this bet. It was not
So
random.
you want a finger?
His car is still here.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Interesting.
Imagine the car's not here.
And now, all we want is some string. He looked around until he found some string. All right. At last, we are ready. Will you please sit here at the table? He said to the boy. The boy put his glass away and sat down. Now place the left hand between these 2 nails. The nails are only so I can tie your hand in place. All right, good, good, good. Now, I'm going to tie your hand secure to the table like so. He wound the string around the boy's wrist, then several times around the wide part of the hand. Then he fastened it tight to the nails. He made a good job of it, and when he'd finished, there wasn't any question about the boy being able to draw his hand away. But he could move his fingers. Now please clench the fist, all except for the little finger. You must leave the little finger sticking out, lying on the table. Excellent, excellent. Now we are ready to begin. With your right hand, you manipulate the lighter. But one moment, please. He skipped over to the bed and picked up the chopper, came back and stood beside the table with the chopper in his hand. So here's what's going on. 2 nails on the table, kid sitting down here. He takes string, wraps it around the wrist, and then wraps it around the fat part of the hand. And then he ties that string to both of the nails. So the hand is here and can't move anywhere, but you can move all your fingers. He then has the kid pop his finger out, and just sitting just like that with the hand. And that way you can't move it. Then he stands above him with the chopper all ready to go. Then the kid can now use left hand sitting there, right hand, you get to use the lighter. So that's how it's all set
That
up.
was clean.
Yes.
That looks so fun to open.
We it's usually oh.
That's pretty good.
We are all ready, he said. Mr. Referee, you must say to begin. The English girl was standing there in her pale blue swimsuit right behind the boy's chair. She was just standing there, not saying anything. The boy was sitting quite still, holding the lighter in his right hand, looking at the chopper. The little man was looking at me. Are you ready? I asked the boy. Yeah, I'm ready. And you? I said to the little man. Oh yeah, I'm quite ready, he said. And he lifted the chopper up in the air and held it there about 2 feet above the boy's finger. Like that. Ready to chop. The boy watched it, but he didn't flinch and his mouth didn't move at all. He merely raised his eyebrows and frowned. All right, go ahead. The boy goes, oh, would you mind counting out loud the number of times I light it? Yeah, I can do that. With his thumb, he raised the top of the lighter, and again with the thumb, he gave the wheel a sharp flick. The flint sparked, and the wick caught fire and burned with a small yellow flame. 1, I called. He didn't blow the flame out. He closed the top of the lighter on it, and then waited for perhaps 5 seconds before opening it again. He again flicked the wheel very strongly, and once more there was a small flame burning on the wick. 2! No one said anything. The boy kept his eyes on the lighter. The little man held the chopper up in the air, and he too was watching the lighter. 3! 4! 5!
Go away 5 seconds.
6! What was suspense again?
What?
What is suspense again?
It's like when you're winning something.
Just checking.
Oh my god.
7! Obviously, it was one of those lighters that worked. The flame gave a big spark, and the wick was the right length. I watched the thumb snapping the top down onto the flame. Then a pause, then the thumb raising the top once more. This was an all-thumb operation. Remember that part. It's going to come back in a moment. The thumb did everything. I took a breath, ready to say 8. The thumb flicked the wheel. The flint sparked. The little flame appeared. 8! I said. And as I said
This is
it,
killing.
the door opened. We all turned and saw a woman standing in the doorway. A small, black-haired woman, rather old, who stood there for about 2 seconds, then started rushing forward, shouting, Carlos! Carlos! She grabbed his wrist, took the chopper from him, threw it on the bed, took hold of the little man by the lapels of his white suit, and began shaking him very vigorously, talking to him fast and loud and fiercely, all the time in some Spanish-sounding language. She shook him so fast you couldn't see him anymore. He became a faint, misty, quickly moving outline, like the spokes of a turning wheel. Then she slowed down, and the little man came into view again, and she hauled him across the room and pushed him backward onto one of the beds. He sat on the edge of it, blinking his eyes and testing his head to see if it would still work on his neck. I am so sorry. I am so terribly sorry that this should happen. She spoke almost perfect English. It is too bad. I suppose it is really my fault. For 10 minutes, I leave him alone to go and have my hair washed, and I come back, and he is at this again. She looked sorry and deeply concerned. The boy was untying his hand from the table. The English girl and I stood there and said nothing. He is a menace. Down where we live at home, he has taken altogether 47 fingers from different people, and he has lost 11 cars so far. In the end, they threatened to put him away somewhere and lock him up. That is why I brought him up here. We were only having a little bet, mumbled the man from the bed. I'm supposing he bet you a car? Yeah, the boy answered. It was a Cadillac. He doesn't have any more cars. That one's mine. And that makes it worse that he should bet you when he has nothing to bet with. I am ashamed and very sorry about it all. She seemed an awfully nice woman. Oh, well, then here's the key to your car. And I put it on the table. We were only having a little bet, mumbled the little man. He hasn't anything left to bet with, the woman said. He hasn't a thing in the world. Not a thing. As a matter of fact, I myself won it all from him a long while ago. It took time, a lot of time. And it was hard work, but I won it all in the end. She looked up at the boy, smiled, slow, sad smile. She came over and put out a hand to take the key from the table. And I can still see it now. That hand of hers had only one finger left on it, and a thumb. And that's where it ends.
Man.
And I will help explain it in just a moment. Let me give you guys the end of it, and then I'll explain what happened there.
Oh.
She was betting, and then she lost her finger.
Uh-huh. But why was she betting him?
For the cars?
To get
Getting
stuff.
closer. How is she related to him?
Because you wanted him so bad.
I'm so confused.
Husband and wife? Are they married?
Well, that would be the first guess. But if you were married to him, and he's going around cutting off people's fingers, what could you do?
Give other
A
people your
divorce.
finger.
So I don't think it's
It's
a
the
wife.
mother.
Well, the problem is if it's a mother, how old is he?
7.
He's already been 7.
Yeah, he's already old, so I'm guessing his mother is
Dead.
dead. So I'm guessing it's probably not a mother.
It's his daughter.
Could be daughter, but it says she's also really old.
Sister?
Sister is my best guess, because you can't get rid of your siblings, no matter how much you don't like them, you're kind of stuck with them. So I'm guessing it's a sister. Now the issue is this the first time he's done this?
No.
How many times has he won? 7 times. How many times has he lost?
11.
That's pretty good odds. But what did she say was going to happen to him back at their home?
He's gonna go to jail.
That he was going to go to jail or get locked away or something was going to happen to him.
Yeah, why
So,
do that?
if she wants him to stop, and she is his sister, you can't just make him stop, because apparently he's rich, and you can't just take his stuff. So in order to prevent him from betting the cars, how does she get the cars from him?
She bets her own fingers for the cars.
It's the only way to save her brother, because he has an addiction. The addiction being?
Cutting off
Gambling.
people's fingers.
No.
No, getting people's fingers.
Gambling. And the problem is, if you are really, really rich, gambling for money is not fun, because you already have a bunch of money. So you have to find something that's more exciting than money. Find something that people don't want to lose. What is something people don't want to lose? Now all of a sudden his gambling addiction makes more sense. That's wise, because when you're that rich, money doesn't mean anything. You have to find a different thing to make it exciting. Hence, the finger comes into it. And if she wants to stop him, she has to bet against him. And apparently, she did not have all the best of luck, because in order to win, when it says that she reaches out for the key, what does she have left? Nicely done. Ooh, where was she before, by the way?
Washing her hair.
Ah, not washing her hair.
Getting her hair washed.
Getting her hair washed. Because that implies
Is that,
someone else was doing it. Because why does she need someone else to wash her
is
hair?
that a fingers?
Exactly. It's hard to wash your hair when all you have are little stumpy things. And so all she has are her little pinchers. And so she was going out to get her hair washed. So it turns out this guy was not his first time doing it. And apparently he's dealing with an addiction to gambling and causing all kinds of problems. Not as many problems as the kids who are packing up, because I still have plenty of class time left.
Oh, Jake, you silly goose.
I know. There's so many gooses in here. So, no, dang it, I messed up.
It's a climax.
I realized I did it in the wrong order. You guys are my first class to get this far. I was going to try and go through and make you guys guess. But I couldn't.
Resolution.
Yay!
Resolution.
Dang.
Marker. I'll fix it for my next class. Anyway, I tried to set up to have you guys figure it out, but apparently I ruined it from there. Where I have your exposition, speaker meets the odd man at the pool, and boy shows lighter. Your rising action, the boy and Carlos set up their bet in his room and begin flicking the lighter and counting. That's where we get our suspense that comes in. Ooh, then the climax is going to be
When we come to the room.
When the woman comes running into the room, then our following action tells Carlos isn't allowed to bet anymore. Resolution, we find out that he's been taking his
I have a
sister's
question.
fingers. Yes.
So she was betting on
Her fingers?
herself. So wait. So was she betting her fingers to make him not wait?
Correct.
Yes.
Because the only way to get him to stop betting is to take everything he has. The only way to take his stuff is to win against him in a bet.
Oh.
And there's only one thing he's willing to bet. Which also means, what did he do to his own sister?
He cut off her fingers.
So that shows you some, I don't know how many of you guys get along with your siblings.
I don't.
Well, that was a fast answer. How quickly you'd be willing to give up a finger. How many of you are willing to give up one finger to keep your sibling out of jail?
Me.
Let alone give up 6 fingers. Because apparently it's all, ooh, because when he was watching it, which finger does he say did all the work?
Thumb. And
Because again, if this is the one that is you can't use, and so if you've lost these 3 fingers, all you need is your thumb to go, aha! And so you have to have like your thumb to do all the work from there. Kind of burnt myself. I don't know, fire's no fun. And so it's okay. I was trying to figure out how to. I'm not sure how to close it. I don't think that's the right way either. But that would be where part of the issue comes in with her missing the fingers. Anyway.
Shut up. That is horrible.
So, what would be our biggest internal conflict the American boy has to do? Landon?
You say shut up.
Take the bet or reject the bet.
That worked for me. Nice
Let's
enough.
see. Not use the bet.
I put bet his finger or walk away from the crazy. How about the referee? Oh, Zane?
Let the man chop off his finger if he loses.
we'll call it police.
Or
Not be a referee and just run away or call the police.
except you use not. I like you're going with it.
Okay.
Lily?
To be the referee for the crazy bet or stay at the field relaxing.
That's what I think. I mean, if you guys were sitting there and you see some creepy old guy like, come up to my room so I can cut off a little boy's finger. And you're like, yeah, I'm out, thanks.
No, dude.
I'm good.
Good.
Another Saturday for
I
me.
would love to do that.
And so then we have to stay to help or get the heck away. And then what would be our external conflict? Who are the 2 things fighting each other?
Something uses something.
The finger.
Me and Santi.
Finger
There you go.
Oh, I would.
Cow.
Word for word.
Cow.
Yes, I would.
Ooh, what was the point of view?
First person for the
It
unnamed
was first
narrator.
person because of the referee guy.
Nicely done.
Oh,
This is much like Priscilla, where it throws you off a little bit, where it feels like it's third person, but it's being told by the referee, who is like your main person going through it. Well done, your first person there. And then I kind of gave away this bottom part down here, as I sort of said what was the main poor choice that we should learn not to do?
Do not gamble.
There you go.
Do not gamble fingers.
Don't
So that
trust an old guy.
Don't.
It's a bad habit.
No, you're
No, you aren't. You're young.
Wait, I feel like old.
You're at least 30.
When someone's considered old, I feel like they should be like a grandpa. Is when
For
they
real.
should be considered old.
My parents are
Thank you, I think.
No,
Do you know how old I am?
I have no idea.
40.
77.
We're not auctioning me off, but thank you.
So where are you?
100.
I'll get it for $102.
1,000.
You're
40. You're 40.
1 million.
47.
You're 47.
Yes.
Hey, my dad's 44, I think. I don't really know.
He's a 4 years younger than my
And
dad.
then we get to
He's old.
Dude,
go
why are you
to
asking?
No one.
main characters in the story.
Unnamed narrator. Or
Referee.
Referee. Notice taker.
Someone. That
American
little
boy.
kid. That little boy.
And
Carlos. Old man, American
And then
boy, and American
old
woman.
man.
how would you
And old woman.
describe them that would not work for anyone else?
Old guy for Carlos.
Avery.
For Carlos, Colonel Sanders.
And what does that mean? He likes chicken?
Yeah.
I don't think
Me
that was in the
too.
story at all.
Colonel Sanders.
Piper? That's true. He does not bet anything. I'll go with that. Maggie?
Carlos
Uh-huh.
has a betting addiction.
I would agree with that one too. Daryl?
Carlos also has 47 fingers.
Technically 57.
Yeah, how?
I guess
His
it's
own
actually
10. He has his 10 fingers plus the other 47 he's
Elliot, I know.
collected.
I know.
I don't know where they are.
That's
Food,
weird
probably
to
like
think
a
about.
jar in the refrigerator.
Nor do I want to try to imagine where
I
they
feel like
are.
you would write that old mark for that one though.
Monday, we have quiz. Try to keep your fingers over the weekend.
I can't promise.